Right then, welcome back. It's time for another What a Shout, brought to you by the Racing Post and our sponsors Bet365. Myself, Dave Orton, back in the chair. It's a good weekend to be alive. Why? Because it's the Open meeting at Cheltenham. And you Irish fans as well. Yes, there's a doubleheader at Punchestown as well, culminating in the Morgiana Hurdle on Sunday. Without further ado, let's get straight to our guest. Oh, we've pulled out the big guns for you this Friday. Indeed, wind back the clock 12 months. A certain mare rocked up in the Bet Victor Gold Cup. Now back to the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Of course, this is the race with the sponsorship that we all know. It used to be called the Mackerson. It used to be called the Thomas Pink. But Happy Diva came and took it out for Kerry Lee, who joins us on the line. Good morning to you, Kerry.
Hey, good morning. Nice to see you all.
Happy days. Now, we've got no problems with your Skype. I don't know, I'll cross my fingers when we're doing this, because you used to be a bit of a computer whiz. Was it computer science you studied before you got into training?
That's right, yes. A little stint at uni and a background with Channel 4 racing as it was then. So I used to run the graphics department. You
did, didn't you? You had spent quite a long time doing that as well, didn't you? In the heyday there, the morning line and everything.
Far too long, too many morning lines to count. Lots of coffee drunk on those mornings, that's for sure. But now it's good fun to be on the other side of the camera now.
And there you are in your Herefordshire stables, about to get in the box. We've got you before you go and take your... You got Magic Dancer running on the Friday, which is when we're filming, Friday morning, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Magic Dancer's running in the first race today, so I'm off to Cheltenham.
Happy days. And we can see your yard sponsorship silks placed very nicely behind you. They're a professional outfit indeed. Before we get to some of Kerry's runners, we'll go over some nostalgia with her. Let's get to our resident tipster, shall we call him that? Paul Kealy back in the studio. Keels, good to see you.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? All that flat rubbish is finished now and we get a chance on the proper racing.
You love a bit of flat racing. Don't go on to that. Wasn't the greatest year, but we're all extremely excited.
Awful year. It was an awful year. The only thing worse about this year's flat season was my tipping on it, to be fair. So, yeah, I'm bang into the jumps now.
Which seamlessly leads us into who you tipped in the big race last year. And, you know, this isn't just Kerry that we've got in. You tipped the big winner, of course.
Yeah, Happy Diva, yeah. I mean, the year before, she was actually going really, really well. I think got brought down rather than fell, if I remember rightly.
It was brought down.
And I just thought, she's 16 to 1. And this is a mare who very rarely finishes out the first three. You know, and, you know, as again, she will jump and travel. It just depends on whether her horse is better handicapped. But she's come out and she's run second to Simply the Bets at Cheltenham afterwards as well. She's just really tough, admirable mare who tries her heart out every time she runs.
Yeah, we'll get a line from Kerry on Happy Diva when we preview the big race itself. Just a great weekend, this, isn't it? Everyone's got memories of the Open weekend, haven't they?
I love the Paddy Power weekend, always have done. You know, I'll either go on the Saturday or the Sunday.
Not the countryside down the Friday.
No, you have to work. I mean, it's been Sunday the last few years because all the work's over and you go down there. We used to have a Racing Post coach to go down there. You know, and it's very, very messy on occasions, I can tell you.
Dear Lord. Yeah, of course, last year on the Friday, of course, you remember it was actually put back to the Saturday. It was doom and gloom, wasn't it? But, OK, Kerry, let's have a word about some of your runners, shall we, of course, this weekend. You've got Storm Control going in on the Saturday, of course, going up to 3 miles. Kills, you wanted to ask Kerry exactly about the stamina reserves.
Yeah, I just want to know how confident are you he'll stay, because I think he's very well handicapped. I quite like him, but obviously it's a big question mark.
Confidence, never too confident, but very hopeful. Bit worried about the forecast tomorrow morning, though. He's definitely a better horse on better ground. And I've just had a quick look at the Cheltenham racecourse weather forecast, and it is going to bucket down tomorrow.
It changes every day, these weather forecasts, don't they?
Oh, it's a bit depressing, but I was looking for the better ground. I thought 3 miles on better ground would be right up his street. But look, he's in great order. He's on the right mark, and especially with Richard Patrick still claiming 3, now's the time to have a go. So yeah. I think we'll probably get on and give it a try. Not sure. He has won a point-to-point now, so you can't take that away from him. And I think if we ride him sensibly, he should get it. Okay.
I mean, he's shaped like he needed a bit further now, doesn't he? It just depends on
whether Weatherby last time.
Another half a mile's a long way, isn't it? You know,
right. Especially up that old hill, isn't it? Yeah. And with the rain as well, the mare won't mind it, of course. Waiting in the wings, let's get to him. Pat Cooney from our sponsors Bet365. Pat, a welcome back.
Yes, good morning to you and good morning to Kerry. I have to say, one of my favourite jump trainers, so great to be on the same show as her today.
Oh, this is why Pat Cooney's been in the industry so long, isn't it? There you go, gets it straight in. Pat, you do actually have a question for your mate Kerry.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to ask Kerry that apart from the lovely Happy Diva, is there one horse in the stable you would recommend the viewers to follow for the rest of the season?
I think the horse that I really like and has shown a lot of potential so far would be Eton Kalina. He made his hurdling debut last week at Stratford, ran very nicely to finish second in what was quite a decent novice hurdle. And yeah, he's really taken to jumping. He's taken quite a long time to grow up, but I think he could be a horse to follow in the future, especially when he goes over the bigger fences.
I must admit, I wasn't sure you were going to say that, Kerry. We were talking off air when we got into the office, me and Kills, and I said, every year around about this time, now that these novice handicaps have been modernised, Kerry, there's one race that sticks out like a sore thumb. You always go, oh, that ran behind that, oh, that ran behind that. And it's De Machine's race, the 2 mile 6 race at Uttoxeter. You must have been delighted with him.
Yes, he's a very nice horse, but it was a novice chase, and you've got to just, we've only won one. Once he becomes a more experienced chaser, I'll be a little bit more confident. But you can never just take one outing and start getting too confident in my book. I'd like to have a bit more to back it up.
Steadying my excitement there, but let me tell you, Kerry, the form is people do it in life for me, don't worry. But the form is working out sensationally well. So look, we've got a Welsh Grand National winning trainer along board. Let's see what's coming up on this week's show then. We've got the hot topic for you, green shoots. We'll be talking about the sales coming up. Getting well from Keels, Pat and Kerry on exactly what we think about the future there. We'll be talking about the racing clues, of course, bit of Breeders' Cup and what happened in the jumping world. Then we'll be previewing the big races. We'll be giving you some big calls and, of course, the weekend winners. If you've not signed up to our sponsors so far, Bet365, now's a great time to do so. Why? Because we've got a referral code for you. That's right, it's SHOUT365. Just type that in. Minimum deposit of £5 for up to 100 bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, hot topic time then. Green shoots of recovery. Is that what's going on now? Positive noises everywhere in society, isn't it, at the moment? Welcome so. Racing doom and gloom forecasts for the last 7 months. What's 2021 going to be like? Will we lose racecourses? Will we lose stables? Will we lose horses? All over the place, owners, we're not sure. However, JP McManus comes out on the phone yesterday and sets a record at the UK golf sales, £570,000 for John Bon, Duvan's half-brother. It's his actual brother, isn't it, Kills, actually? Yeah. Who hosed up in a point recently, and we're seeing records everywhere. Elliott the week before, Gordon Elliott goes to 470 for a pointer that he's trained. Sheveley Park still investing heavily in the jumpers.
Yeah, I mean, at the top end, it's hardly green shoots, is it? I mean, these are organisations of people who aren't going to be losing their businesses due to COVID. You know what I mean? And at the top end of racing, it's always been a false economy anyway, isn't it? I mean, you buy a horse like John Bon, you pay 570 grand, and its first race is for 3.5 grand somewhere.
So why are we seeing records being set? We're talking about a lot of big hitters.
Like I said, the racing, it's always been a false economy buying horses. Especially at the top end. I mean, nobody actually buys a horse to make a profit anyway, do they? It's a sport, especially the jumps. And there are rich owners who are going to bid against each other because they want those big days in the sun at Cheltenham and Aintree, etc. And if they've got the money, they're going to spend it.
Yeah, I suppose with John Bon, you'd be looking at 2022, wouldn't you, or something like that? Maybe not next year. Okay. Kerry Lee, let's come to you on this.
Yeah, I think Keels is absolutely right. It's as though racing is immune to a pandemic, isn't it, when you look at these kinds of figures? It's a really hard one to call. Yes, I agree. You're never going to stop the very wealthy folks buying horses for $500,000 and thereabouts. But if you look further into the industry, into perhaps the grassroots of it, it's not so fluid in that respect. And people are worried. I kind of have to say, well, we're finding a balance. I'm very lucky. I've got some very solid owners behind me. But I think anybody that's in a slightly lesser position than that might be worried and might be struggling. And you have to think of horse welfare as well in all of this. Apparently, when the lockdown first happened, that sort of 1,500 horses offered to racing welfare or rehabilitation of racehorses. And that's a worry. So you've kind of got one end of the spectrum against the other. it's very difficult to balance. But good luck to those that have got all the cash to spend. I wish they'd send me one.
Quite right. Well, listen, if it ever happens to me, Kerry, you're top of my list. Let me tell you that. It's not just Pat Cooney that can blow smoke. Okay, so Pat Cooney, let's bring you in on this. Green shoots or false dawn?
I think the top end of the market always takes care of itself, don't they? I mean, the less vintage cars there are in the world, the more expensive they are. There's more people struggling than bowling along doing well, that's for sure. So you'd hope it all works out. The good ones come out and they win, and then it filters down, and there's more interest in the middle tier horses. But I start at the bottom of World Cup. I think it's tough times ahead for people. And, if these horses, they pay the big money for them, I hope they take each other on rather than one goes here and one goes there. And it makes it hard on all the rest of them. But the top players will always do okay.
Okay, so the top end of the market, absolutely fine. Spoke to a friend of the show, Charlie Post, yesterday. He was at UK Golf selling a horse. And he said the more the lockdowns go on, selling a horse in lockdown, Dave, he said it's extremely difficult. They are slightly worried about it. Green shoots, but let's keep ourselves steadied. Right then, racing clues from the past week. Just happened to be a Breeders' Cup meeting last weekend at Kentucky. Keeneland, Bob Baffert, we had him on the show. I know you love that. Put up 3 winners, didn't he? 1-2 in the Classic as well. It's come to you, Pat Cooney. No point in asking Kealy about the Breeders' Cup, of course. We know his feelings on that. Great night on Saturday as well for the Euros. What was turnover like?
Turnover was excellent. It was helped very much so by it being a real nice time for the European viewers. So the big race was 10:15. Normally we're midnight. Turnover was buoyant, and there was something for everyone, wasn't there? James Eustace had a winner. James Fancher had a winner. Aidan O'Brien, the 1, 2, 3 in the mile. A 7-year-old won the sprint. I thought it was tremendous racing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought Tarnawa, she's established herself as maybe the horse that we all want to be with next year, wherever she ends up. Why can't she win the Arc, for example? So there was something for everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed both days, the Friday night as well, of course.
Yeah, also friend of the show, Adam Ryan, Kevin Ryan, glass slippers, happy days. That was fantastic. Saturday night, you must have enjoyed a little bit of it.
I watched bits of it. I mean, let's face it, pubs were shut, weren't they? So there's nothing else to do, was there? But yeah, look, you know where I stand with dirt racing. I hate it. I think it's terribly cruel on horses.
Come on, move on with that.
Tarnawa was really good. Your only worry there is the Aga Khan doesn't tend to keep 5-year-olds in training, does he? So,
yeah.
So the decision hasn't yet been made, but we may have seen the last of it. I hope not.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Oisin Murphy, back-to-back championships. Can he get a third?
He can do, but he's got this drug failed test hanging over him, and if he's got 6 months off whenever it comes through, then no, he won't be doing it next year.
There's a story waiting to sizzle there.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
My point being, Tom Marquand might step up. Holly Doyle.
Yeah. It's going to be,
power couple.
It'll be really competitive next year. It won't be that easy. You've got to remember, William Buick wasn't far off either. Let's not rule him out.
Yeah, he was sensational, Will Buick, of course. All right, let's go back to the jumps then. Kerry Lee, it's come to you. There was the Badger Beers handicap won by El Presente. Kim Bailey, he can really get these horses rolling, can't he?
Yeah, certainly can. He's a trainer to be fearful of at the moment, isn't he? I thought the eye catcher, though, would be Kitty's Light, finishing with a real rattle under Jack Tudor, who's immense value for £5 at the moment, and in my eyes, a champion jockey in waiting.
Oh, I love that, absolutely. Kitty's Light came from absolutely nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, didn't jump particularly well early, didn't seem to be going that well, but he kept at it.
Amazing. What about Sir Royal?
So Royal, love So Royal. I mean, it's hard to believe he's only 8, isn't it? Because he's been around for ages.
Like Frodon.
Be quite interesting. It looks like the weather's going to go against him at some point. So they're now talking about going to the Fighting Fifth. The ground looks like it might be very soft at Cheltenham on Sunday, so they won't be going to the Schlur.
Yeah.
Just a lovely horse.
He's just one of those, isn't he? That
I mean, he did nothing that he wasn't entitled to do. I mean, he should have been 3s on Saturday.
A couple looked like they really needed it, didn't they? Master Debonair in particular.
Yeah, but he was being a long way out, wasn't he? A hell of a long way out.
But the Copperhead back over hurdles at Wetherby for the Tizard Yard. This is where I'm going with this. Yeah. They have been green shoots for them, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Looks like they're starting to come into form. They quite often start slowly.
All right, that was your racing clues from the past week. 2:15 on Saturday then. We'll all be glued, won't we? Some will be lucky to be there. Some will be bidding to pick up the prize for a second year running. Now, back-to-back winners of this fated cup, Kerry Lee. It has happened. You've got to go back quite a long way, however. How is the great mare Happy Diva? Took it out for you last year, of course.
Oh, she's brilliant. She's in great form. Really happy to be going back for another go. But God, it's such a tough ask for her. I just hope she runs a great solid race again. Even I'm not quite delusional enough to think that she actually can win it. But obviously we're trying our best.
Oh, come on, you've got a dream, Kerry, haven't you? But she's obviously in top form. The comeback at Wetherby looked pretty solid. She was beaten further. It was the same race, wasn't it? She prepped in 2019. But the Racing Post rating was exactly on the same mark.
Absolutely, yeah. She's in great form. She's such a consistent filly, isn't she? And I think she ran a career best at Cheltenham Festival, went just behind Simply the Bets. She's a little bit better off at the weights with him this week. But there's horses that she's not so well off with, such as Asso, who I think, whilst he heads the market and he's giving pots of weight away to plenty, is a serious horse, and he's a graded horse, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he gives the race a very classy look, Kills, doesn't he? Weather first and foremost. Who's gonna like it if it buckets down?
Well, it's a big thing, isn't it? Because this has sort of crept up on us because last night the weather forecast wasn't for it to be that bad. Like, you know what I mean? But it looks like they could have, best part of half an inch by the time they run. So I mean, it could be quite soft. I certainly don't think many of the market leaders would be all that bothered about it, to be honest. I think Saint Sonnet, the favourite, one of the favourites, had plenty of form on soft in France. I think that's probably what he wants.
Is that your pick?
That'd be my pick. I really like the way he went through the Marsh Chase. For an inexperienced horse, it's very unusual for Paul Nicholls for a start to run a horse after one run in a British Chase in a Grade 1 at the Cheltenham Festival. He's only done it once, in fact. It's in the last 12 years. That was Walcombe Folly in the ran it in the Arkle, I believe, after one run. We're talking 2010. Now, he cut no ice there either, but he finished that season rated 142 or something like that, and by the time he went to Cheltenham the following year, he was 169. So Nicholls was right. He actually knew how good he was. And for him to do that, and the way the horse travelled, apart from when he and jumped, apart from the sixth last, the open ditch. Now he took off miles too early that day and went through it, dropped back to second last. It's a sort of mistake that would empty a lot of horses, but he came back on the bridle and he was still travelling well 3 out. Okay, he didn't get up the hill. I'm forgiving him that. He's a 5-year-old. He's on a mark of 147, which is interesting because there are only 2 horses in the last 10 years that have won above 150, and all the other second season chasers are mid 150s. It's hard to do. It's a hard race, and they've shown an awful lot last year. So how much more? They're going to have to be nearly Grade 1 horses to be winning if something lower down the weights is well handicapped, and he's the one that sort of stands out as the one that's most likely to be.
He's got a lot of ground to make up on Mr. Fisher, hasn't he? Now, here's a word for your members section. When we came in this morning to the office, I said, how can he make up that ground on Mr. Fisher? Of course, I'd watched the racing in its closing entirety. So you watched the whole thing, of course.
Yeah, you have to watch the whole race. You don't get to see it all, do you? So.
And he walked through the sixth last, of course.
He didn't really say walk through it. He just took off miles too early and came down half on top of it.
Yeah.
It didn't cost him a massive amount of ground, but it cost him a bit of momentum, and that sort of mistake can win.
He was 5s on for his British debut at Catterick, and again, it's not a very sexy track, is it, Catterick, to be coming to then Cheltenham? But that form has worked out particularly well. Crix's escape won as he liked, pretty much.
He won by 22 lengths the next time, and he was given a fair bit of weight to it as well. So yeah, I think the form is solid. He's obviously got to improve, but given how Paul Nicholls was going,
the more I watch back that race replay, the more I like Mr. Fisher. I think he powered up that hill in the Marsh Chase. He is, absolutely. I can see a second season chaser taken out. What about Pat Cooney?
Yeah, I'm twixt and tween. I've ended up fancying Mr. Fisher. I thought he was a little bit unlucky, at that race at Cheltenham behind Sam Crow. I think he could have finished a couple of lengths nearer. And you do look at him. Is any of these horses going to become a Ryanair horse? Well, he could. I get St. Sonnet getting the £8 off for Mr. Fisher, but Mr. Fisher appeals to me. But my eye is drawn to Happy Diva. I mean, I'm sure some firms are going to be paying first 5 places and so forth. And it was a decent run at Wetherby. And I was at Wetherby and Kerry was there. And of course, I think one of Kerry's last words to me was, I hope the handicapper drops her a few pounds. Well, I think he dropped her £2 for that Wetherby run. So if she's here in all systems go and she's going to be a double figure price, not a lot wrong with backing Happy Diva each way at enhanced places for me.
Last 4 runs around Cheltenham, not out of the top 2. And I'll tell you what, he wasn't kidding, was he? Pat Cooney, proper fanboy. Let's go to Sunday then. It's one of the great Sunday of jumps racing out there. It's just one of the great Sundays. Got the Masters as well, haven't you, on Sunday? You lucky people out there locked down, I'll tell you what, it's going to be different class. And at 210, the Champion Hurdle division will get a real ripple because it's the Morgiana, the well-established Morgiana. Kerry Lee, I want to come to you on this. You're a big fan of one that we expect to run.
Yeah, Abracadabras, I think, was unlucky to bump into Shishkin in the Supreme. He came back, he's had a nice pipe opener at Down Royal just under 2 weeks ago, and I think he'll take a lot of beating when you look at how much form Gordon's in. Super Sunday is the other one. If that turns up, you can't rule it out. I know he's the old man of the field almost, but Jesse Harrington won't be sending him there for nothing.
Yeah, it reminds you of old Top Gamble, doesn't he, Kerry? That sort of horse, absolutely. We had to get a mention of Top Gambling. Come on, fourth in a couple of Queen Mothers.
Yes, he's an awesome chap, isn't he? He's now taken to hurdling, and he's work in progress at the moment.
Oh, watch this space. Okay, who will you be watching out for in the Morgiana case?
Yeah, I mean, purely for price purposes, Abracadabras is too big. I mean, I think that, I thought, St. Sonics a shade of odds on Abracadabras is 3-1.
What
doesn't make an awful
Royal?
lot. What happened to Dan Royal was he wasn't fit. I mean, it's fairly simple. Gordon Elliott goes to that meeting at Down Royal. Everyone waxes lyrical about how he gets his horses ready for it, and the fact is that he wins all the novice races with long odds-on shots, and his really good horses tend to get beat.
Delta Work
got thrashed twice now at that meeting. Didn't stop him winning 2 Grade 1s afterwards, so I wouldn't be worried about that at all. He breezed into the race and then just blew up for me. And it'd be interesting tactical race because obviously him and Saint Ra are your stalkers with a turn of foot.
Yeah. County hurdle winner. So of course we've got the handicap and the Supreme form.
Yeah, Saint Ra's come out and won really impressively, but arguably did only what he should have done anyway. Yeah. So I'm not saying I massively fancy Abracadabras to win the race, but at the prices I do massively fancy him because I think it should be each or two.
I had a couple of questions from Down Royal. Maybe it was fitness, but for me, I'm totally sure he let himself down on that ground. Does he want a little bit further now? We'll find out. Saint Roi for me, I think that's how we say it. Abracadabras, great pronunciation, Kerry. Pat Cooney, pronounce the winner.
The sexy horse, I think it has to be Saint Roi. You look at him when he won the county hurdle. I mean, he won that so easily. I didn't fancy him at all for it. I think he got beat 3-1 on at Clonmel on his Irish debut, and to win a county hurdle so handily that it was super impressive. And I remember thinking, he'll come back and be a champion hurdle winner next year. Now, whether that proves to be the case, owned by JP McManus, of course, he's got Epatante. I don't know, but he duly rocked up and delivered on his reappearance. I think he's the could be anything factor in this race. The ratings would imply there's close between them all, but I think Saint Ra, I think Willie Mullins, he's back in business, hasn't he? Had a few winners, so he's the likely winner for me. I think he's probably the horse I'd like to own out of any of these going forward.
Confidence from Pat Cooney there. Then what a matchup it promises to be. 2:10 Sunday, the Morgiana. Don't miss it. Right then, let's get some heavyweight calls from the panellists this week. Kerry Lee, let's go straight to you. Something extremely topical happened yesterday.
Yeah, Alex Thorne failing to weigh in at Taunton. Oh, didn't you just feel that for him when that story broke? There's a lot going on at a racecourse now. Everything's very different. It's always something my dad taught me as a child at the races. Make sure your jockey weighs in. It's you're not allowed in certain areas. Everything's so different. There are COVID marshals seemingly everywhere. The weighing rooms are all over the place now. They're not in their normal place. There's so much going on a race course that's so different to the norm. And a £5 claimer not weighing in. Oh, absolutely gutted for him. You can imagine the feeling he got when he found out what he'd done. Utter devastation. Something needs to be done quickly to put that right.
Yeah, 2 points there. He got a 21-day ban, Alexander. He's a talented young lad as well. Alan King's got him under his wing, and he is very talented as well. We thought he was going to take out the last race just at Taunton. He just come up. He found one too good.
Restricted area, and then therefore wasn't allowed.
Well, what happened was it was of course ITV cameras, wasn't it, at Taunton? It was the first ever televised race of ITV. It had to, of course, be the drama which heightened it, but. You got COVID marshals, as Kerry says. Why not have an usher? Because, of course, ordinarily, to get into a jockey's room, you've got to go past the scales. So they never miss it normally, So this obviously has gone through. He's just freaked out. It's one of those things. No one wins from this, as Noel Williams, the trainer, said.
No, exactly.
Something's got to be done. 21 days too harsh?
don't know. These things, they are harsh penalties. Given the circumstances, I'd say too harsh. Yes.
Yeah, I think you might want to be appealing that one. Keels, give us a big shout.
Topical. You might miss a couple of winners today, but I think if you back David Pipe this weekend, I think you're going to do well. Obviously, it's not Martin Pipe and the Paddy Power meeting. Obviously, he would have favourite in virtually every other race. But David Pipe has a 14% strike rate at the meeting since he took over from the old man. That is comparable to most of the big stables. I think Philip Hobbs is actually best with 18 in the same period. And he's just got a really strong team this year, really strong. And he's in form as well. He's got some interesting horses in races that he's won before.
Cyril Delac's really interesting.
He's got Cyril Delac and a Paddy Power, who could be well treated on old form. He's got Main Fact in the Great Wood. We've got the rain coming now. That would be absolutely perfect. And he's got Del Arco, who won a Great Wood. He's got a couple of interesting horses like Kephars, who's unbeaten in 3. I just think he's going to have a really good weekend.
Okay, talking about having really good weekends, really good weeks. We were a couple of weeks back on this show championing the female jockeys on the flat. Tell you what, a couple of really caught my eye as being absolute top-notch. Just Paige Fuller first and foremost. Great to see on the likes of Ranch Hand, classy listed winner on the flat, making his hurdles debut at Exeter for Andrew Balding on Wednesday. That went and won. She was really good at Ascot when she's done it. Paige Fuller, going place. And Tabitha Worsley, I'll tell you what, look back at Hereford. She won on a horse for Robin Dickin, absolutely riding way above her claim. She's fantastic as well. We've got some really good female riders in the jumps fraternity. Kerry, just a quick word from you on that front.
Wouldn't really be for me if I'm being completely honest. I think girl jockeys on the flat are brilliant. All respect to Holly Doyle. I think lady jockeys have a good balance and can get on very well with some horses such as Bryony and Frodon. But for me, I think it's very rare to find a female as strong physically as a male. And that's just a fact of life.
Rachel Blackmore might have something to say about that, of course, in Ireland. Let's go to Pat Cooney then. Big shout from you, please.
Well, I'll just go back to poor old Alex Thorne yesterday. But what I will say is most of the bookmakers, Bet365 included, we played bet on both the one that was disqualified and the actual winner as well. I just say to Alex Thorne, don't worry, you're in good hands. Keep your head down. And there was a jockey on August 2014 who got a 10-day ban for riding a winner at Wexford. And his name was Colin Keane. He went up to be champion jockey in Ireland, rode a Breeders' Cup winner over the weekend, and maybe Aidan O'Brien's stable jockey. It can happen to anybody. It happened to Colin Keane.
Thank you, Pat. What a way to end the big calls. Okay, first of the big races for you on Sunday, 2:25. It is the Schlur Chase. Memories of Sprinter Sacre coming round. It's his champion chase all the way. Is there a champion chase in the back, Paul Kealy?
Might be, but I think it's a really tough race if they all go. I mean, obviously, we're talking Friday before the decks.
Yeah.
I like quite a lot of them, actually. I mean, Rouge Vif was really impressive last time. The rain has to be a negative for him.
Yeah.
I mean, if it gets really soft, I could actually see him pulling him out. Defi de Soy's obviously got a little bit to prove now, but I mean,
yeah,
if he just hadn't run in the champion chase, he'd probably be 2s on it for this, wouldn't he?
Philip Hobbs' horses have been wanting him a bit. Sporting
they
John
have been wanting him a bit,
badly
badly blew up as well. So yeah, there's a little bit of a worry about that. And I come down to at the prices. I mean, I know Put the Kettle On looked really good last year, and she's tough.
Arkle
she
winner.
Jumps really well. She won the Arkle.
Won at this meeting last year, didn't she? Of
and
course,
she won at this meeting last year. I presented the trophy, funnily enough.
A little bit of magic from Keels there, a bit of shine.
Yeah, I had to stay sober until the middle of the day. It was terrible.
Don't believe it.
But no, I think Riders on the Storms is likely to be a value price against them. I mean, obviously dropping back to 2 mile, but he looked absolutely top class last year when he was winning. He won those 2 big races at Ascot. Obviously Surname was beaten when falling behind. Obviously that wasn't the Surname that had won there before, obviously, but it's still high class form. And with the rain that's coming, there's going to be a test at 2 mile, and I quite like him. Yeah,
I have to say, Rouge Vif is the horse for me in this. I know that he's on identical figures that he was with Put the Kettle On in the Arkle. I just thought it wasn't the horse that I saw in that handicap. You reminded me of a previous horse that came out and won that handicap and then came and won this race, of course.
Yeah, Fox Norton, yeah.
Who ended up winning this race too. It was akin to that, wasn't it?
It was,
what am I doing in a handicap? And he jumped so well. The ground is the
Ground's
worry.
the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Pat Cooney, where will you be playing in the Schlur?
Well, I did think early on in the week, Put the Kettle On was a particularly big price. I watched her Arkle win, and I think you just have to forget the fact she was a 16-1 outsider. She travelled and was the winner all the way throughout the race. But you do look at her official rating: 155, Defi de Sol 169. That's a full stone. Defi de Sol's got in hand. I'm going to keep the faith with the mare. Put the Kettle On. Price wouldn't thrill me, but likely winner. Have a good season, yeah. And there has been significant support for her all week. So Put the Kettle On. But I wouldn't be backing her at the price. I'd probably try and find something else as an alternative in the race. The value is definitely gone with her, but likely winner perhaps for me.
Put the kettle on. Don't you be doing that when this kicks off on Sunday. 3 o'clock, time for one of the great handicap hurdles of the entire jump season. It is the Greatwood Handicap Hurdle. And another barnstorming betting race it promises to be. With unusual mixed kills of your hardened hurdlers against your novices stepping up.
Yeah,
where's the arrow going?
It's a difficult race. I mean, I'd fancied a couple of outsiders earlier in the week, Milkwood being one of them. But I mean, this rain that, it looks like they're going to get a lot Saturday and then a bit more Sunday.
Edwardstone for Andrew King looks like he's representing a line on the Shishkin Supreme form, doesn't he? Abracadabras has been turned over on his return. Too early so far. Again, I watched back his run in the Supreme. He's just getting going at the end, actually. But I wonder about him on the ground as well. One I like is Cormier for Brian Anderson. We had him on the show, didn't we, a couple back? He was pretty coy about this runner. Strong stayer on the flat. He has turned himself inside out.
He's had some good runs in the Greatwood as well over the years.
Netchka won it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Under Danny McMillan for these colours.
Boffy not go close in it as well before.
Boffy as well. It was same colours as well. Yeah, so it's Cormier for me in a wide open race. Pat Cooney.
I'll go with Edwardstone. I thought his run behind Shishkin at the festival was quite good. There were 23 runners that day, and it looked a real strong renewal of the race. But coming to the third last, there were only 6 runners in any sort of contention, and he was one of the 6. So he didn't run, of course, after that. But it's trained by Alan King. A man who's very much amongst the winners. He looks that progressive novice. I'll stick with him. I think he's the type that'll have a good season. And I thought there was a lot to like about the Cheltenham run. Wide open. I suppose Hunter Call is always one you've got to give a second look to. Talented horse, but fragile. Maybe a saver on him, perhaps.
Yeah, a race where you could pick more than 1 or 2. Where are you going in a fascinating puddle? Let us know. Get your comments in below. Time to bring in the guys then at myracing.com. Always good to have them. Check out their website for expert analysis and tips. They had a winning double at Wincanton last week as well. And in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, they go for the top weight. Keep it simple. ASO. And also at Lingfield on the all-weather 4:30. I catch you last time. Lampong. Time for your weekend winners then. It's naps time. Let's go to Kerry Lee. What have you got for us this weekend, Kerry Lee?
Runner on Sunday, so I think I'm free to have a look at the card, and I'm a huge fan of Sam Twiston Davis, who rode a winner for me at Hereford this week, so I'm going to go for Riders on the Storm in the Schlur.
Kills you like that as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do think he's got a big chance, especially if that rain comes.
Okay, what's your winner?
I like 3:25 Saturday. What's Up With You? Yeah, What's Up With You, it's called. Trained by Ben Paulin. I thought it was really eye-catching, staying on 7th last time over CD.
Okay, check back the whole race replay in your members section. Pat Cooney.
The lucky last at Cheltenham for me, the mare's bumper on Saturday, the 3:55. Plenty of unknown quantities in the race. My eye's drawn to L.A. Bell for Harry and Dan Skelton. She trotted up at Aintree on her debut, and it was soft ground that day as well. She could be named the winner, I think, the moment she walked into the parade ring. She absolutely trotted up. Looks a mare going places to me. It'll be a hot race, but I think she's a hot mare.
Hot stuff from Pat Cooney, and I've waited till last because the team can't get me any pelters. Sacrilegious, I know, but I'll be tipping on the all-weather. The 3:40 is a listed race, good effort. He's drawn in 3. Ismail Mohammed, you watch him go. Kills is shaking his head.
Unbelievable.
Well, we're signing off then from this week's What a Shout. What a weekend we have in prospect. Kerry Lee, thanks so much for coming on. Tell us all about your runners. Good luck with Happy Diva.
Thank you for having me.
An absolute pleasure. We'd love to have you back anytime again. Keels, thank you very much.
All right, mate, looking forward to it. Be a
Feet
good
up.
weekend. Nothing else to do, is there?
Well, not quite, no, absolutely.
Racing, US Masters.
Absolutely, happy days. Pat Cooney, where will you be watching everything?
Probably in the armchair, really, a bit like Keel's, horses in the afternoon, and a bit of golf in the evening over the couple of weeks, a couple of days. So, yeah, action-packed for me.
Oh, there's so much going on, isn't there? Don't forget to gamble responsibly. Of course, there's loads out there. We want you here next week. Don't forget to download the free Racing Post app. You can do that on the App Store or the Google Play Store itself. So, for myself, Dave Orton, don't forget to get your questions in for the panellists below on YouTube, Facebook, #WhatAShout. Enjoy the sport.